You have testimony to offer also, Geist.
My name is Pastor Jim Geist. I'm the Social Justice Minister of New Life Fellowship in Elmhurst, Queens. I'm the New York City Director of the American Anti-Slavery Group, and I'm also the founder of the Interfaith Alliance for Christian Human Rights. Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity you've given us to share what's going on in Sudan. Before I go into my testimony, I'd like to make it clear that I am transitioning from full-time ministry into teaching. I'd like to teach history and social studies, so if anyone knows of a school that's looking for a social studies teacher, call Speaker Vallone. More people have been killed in Sudan than Bosnia, Kosovo, Rwanda, and East Timor combined. 2 million people, 30,000 people enslaved, 2.5 million people right now on the verge of starving to death. In the Khartoum regime, if we decided to send food over there, we'll veto food relief to the people of southern Sudan. I would like to thank Speaker Vallone, who seems to have spontaneously combusted. But Gary Altman, please send my word to Speaker Vallone for his leadership on this issue. Just as New York City set the example on apartheid South Africa, New York City can set the example against genocide and slavery in Sudan. We can set the example to President Clinton and to the rest of the world. As Edmund Burke said, all it takes for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. I'd like to thank the following people who've educated me on what's going on with this persecution issue. Mr. A.M. Rosenthal from the New York Times, Michael Horowitz, Nina Shea, Reverend Steve Hawes, Dr. Charles Jacobs, Betty Cooney of the Queens Chronicle, Steve Malsberg from ABC Radio, Andy Anderson from WMCA Radio, Mr. Alan Hevesy, in addition to Speaker Peter Vallone, and special thanks to my wife, Teresa Haggerty Geist, who has sacrificed time with her husband so that this issue would get the appropriate coverage it deserves. Like the movie Schindler's List, I have been haunted by starving people, by people being killed, by women being raped, by people being enslaved. Ignorance is bliss, and I wish at times that I had never heard about this slavery issue. But the Catholic and Episcopal bishops' words, why is the American church silent on the issue of the worst human rights atrocities in the world today? Why are you more interested in Monica Lewinsky than you are about the enslavement of people? I have heard their cries. And in November of '98, I told God I would do whatever I could in New York City to enlighten people about the issue of slavery. I hope that the New York City Council will embarrass President Clinton to do the right thing. In 1993, in front of the Washington Holocaust Museum, the president said, "Never again, never again. Where there is genocide, we must intervene." In 1994 was the Rwandan Holocaust. The United States did not intervene. In 1998, in Rwanda, when the president took a summer trip to Rwanda, in the Rwandan airport hangar, he said, "I apologize to the Rwandan people. We didn't know what was going on." The president said he didn't know what was going on in Rwanda. Do you believe him? I don't believe him. How could you have not known that 500,000 people were killed? The reason why he didn't want to call it genocide is so we didn't have to do anything. In 1998, on November 10th, the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Human Rights, this is what the president said. He announced the creation of an early warning center to focus American intelligence resources on uncovering potential genocide and a large increase in funding for programs to stop child labor. I think that's a very noble thing if he carries it through. In 1999, March 24th, on the eve before we began bombing Kosovo, this is what the president said. "We have learned if you do not stand up to the brutality and killing of innocent people, then you invite the people who do the killing to do more of it." In 1994, April 14th, the Washington Post, Elie Wiesel asked the president, "Why are we so nobly involved in Kosovo? And why were we not in Rwanda? I think we could have prevented that massacre." President Clinton's response: I will do my best to make sure nothing like this happens again in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is happening again. 2 million people killed. I have come to this conclusion that this is the official policy of the United States and the United Nations. When 3,000 white people get killed in Kosovo, you send in troops immediately. When brown people get killed in East Timor, 200,000, you wait a month or two before you send in the troops. But when black people get killed in Africa, who cares? Look at the record and see if I'm right. I have come to the conclusion that there is something worse than being called a nigger, and that is being born in southern Sudan. I challenge African American leaders and Muslim leaders to speak out on this issue. I contacted 9 different Muslim groups to come here to speak out on the issue of genocide in Sudan. I didn't hear from one. I contacted the Reverend Al Sharpie Sharpton, 2 letters, 10 phone calls, never got a return call. To me, it is the utter hypocrisy and the utmost betrayal when African American leadership does not speak out for black Africans. If Malcolm X were alive today, he would be here at this hearing. Malcolm X said that Islam is a religion that stands for human rights, no matter what your race, your creed, or your religion is. Where is Reverend Jackson on this issue, Jesse Jackson? Where is Reverend Sharpton on this issue? I challenge them to speak out for truth. Dr. Martin Luther King, in his famous 1963 letter from the Birmingham jail, said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. On September 26th, the premiere of Touched by an Angel focused on the issue of slavery in Sudan. In the story, the Roma Downey angel said to a U.S. senator, "You are the one. You are the one to speak out on this issue." Speaker Peter Vallone, God has told me to tell you that you are the one to lead New York City and the United States to speak out on the atrocities of what's happening in the Sudan. Thank you very much.
Well, I'd like to thank you for your statement. I hear your challenge. I think that those of us who hear you understand your commitment and your concern. I would say to you as a black, I'm concerned about slavery, whether it's black or white. Any human being who is enslaved, it would concern me, and I would think it was wrong. I do think also in this country there ought to be a great concern about slavery, simply because the legacy is so great. It hasn't been too long that in this very country slavery was indeed the order of the day. We are still suffering the aftermath of slavery. We haven't outgrown it yet. We still have remnants, and many of them will take us time to eliminate from our own life. But I do believe that you are correct in saying that we each must play a role in eliminating man's hatred and judging of another human being, and that we all have a responsibility in this matter of slavery.
Madam Chairperson, I'd like to add something. that in America, it has been said by Billy Graham that on Sundays at 11 o'clock is the most segregated hour in America. And I think that this is an issue where churches can work together, black churches, Anglo churches, multicultural churches, on a common issue that can help, I think, bring healing and reconciliation on the pain that has been caused in this country by the issue of slavery. Now, the gentleman on the left, I don't know his name, but he brought up the issue and said, well, this has been going on for, what, 15, 30 years? You know, why all of a sudden is this an issue? Well, in America, we had slavery for over 100 years before we had the Civil War, which helped bring an end to it. So I think that that point is moot. In response to the gentleman on the left who said that, well, the council's been working on this issue for 2 years. Well, I have to be quite blunt. No, they haven't. The Speaker, 3 years ago in this room, promised to introduce sanctions against 15 countries committing persecution against Christians. He withdrew the bill. We met with him. He said, I promised to hold hearings on one country, and we chose Sudan. So, last year, in front of a religious coalition, the Speaker said, I give my word that I'm going to hold hearings. The year came and went. Didn't happen. Last year, the same thing. Oh, I give my word. We're going to hold hearings. The year came and went. It wasn't until I went on a 12-day hunger strike that the council held a hearing on this issue. Now, just my last thing, if the council is going to pass this bill, if they're going to pass the bill just to say, we did something about Sudan, get rid of it, and then move on, then this hearing has been a failure. And I truly hope that the New York City Council, New York City Council Speaker Peter Vallone and Alan Hevesy are willing to work together on a compromise on this issue.
Well, now let me just answer you from my Christian faith while we're sitting here. One of the things I would say to you is simply this. You made one comment about the Speaker not being here. One of the reasons we changed the hour was because it was impossible for the Speaker to be present this morning, and he wanted to be here at some part of the day for this particular hearing because...
No, I understand that.
Okay, he made a commitment. Secondly, he could not be here for the entire time, but he wanted you to know the importance of this legislation to him. And so even though he could not be here for the entire time, he was here and had to leave. The second part of this is that there were a number of principles embodied in the original legislation, and with negotiations, there were some principles that were agreed upon. Hence, the revision of this bill would mean that you did not have those things that were agreed upon continue in that legislation. So sometimes when it seems as if those things are eliminated, it's not because we're not concerned, but because of the fact if things have been accomplished, it is believed that it is not necessary to include that in a subsequent document. The third thing I would say is that when you see us doing something that you don't quite agree with, you can ask us, talk to us, and above all, pray for us and with us. That's part of the faith.
Well, as a sister in the Lord, I will say that I pray every day for the council.
You had your turn, it's my turn now.
And I called 60 times and the Speaker didn't return my phone call.
Excuse me, I cannot respond to that. I can only respond to this fact, that you cannot give up on us any more than I can give up on you. You can't do that. That's not the game you and I are in. It's that we believe in the principle that human beings are so important that no matter what, we continue to hope and believe and to try. So this council, I believe, is worthy.
Absolutely.
Your efforts, and for that reason, we are here. And what we want is to achieve an objective, and that is to make known to those who would oppress that we will not tolerate oppression. The other thing we want to make known to the people of the Sudan, that we will not tolerate oppression. The third thing we want to do is to say to the people of Sudan who have been oppressed, you are not alone because we are with you and we will support you. So we can't afford to fight each other.
I'm not fighting.
If we're
I'm just
fighting
speaking
each
truth.
other, we can't send the right message. Is that not true?
I understand that
Is that not
politics
true?
is
If
politics
we're
is the
fighting
art
each
of
other, we
compromise,
can't
and I
send
accept
the
that. I'm
correct
just saying
message.
that the council has not done anything in the issue of slavery for 2 years. That's all I'm saying,
Well,
and
all
that's the
I'm going
truth.
to say to you, it took a long time to create a lot of things. And what you've said about the church being that we are not, it's segregated on Sunday.
No, we are. I said
I
it's the
agree
most
with you,
segregated
but
hour.
then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Saturday, we need to work together too,
Amen.
okay? So all I would suggest to you, let us move on, okay?
Very good.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you for your testimony. James Chin.